Hello, welcome to the Self-Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 10, Temporal Evolution of Ancient, Modern, Pre-Industrial and Industrial Cities. And our topic is Modern Cities. Generally speaking, modern cities have been defined as those that belong to the present and recent times. All terms of modernization refer in some way not only to change but to the emergence of efficiency, increased human and spatial interaction, and extraordinary complexities of social relationships. Cities are associated with more efficient means of production and provide heterogeneity of goods and services, and with a range of contacts among people and places. Modern city can be seen in two ways. It can be seen in terms of a model of a modern Western city, or it can also be compared with its own immediate past and looking at the amount of development that has taken place. A third approach would be to first define an ideal pre-modern city and then use it as a model to focus on the kind of changes that have occurred in the modern cities. The dimensions of a modern city are as follows: spatial methodology and location, economic structure, demographic and sociological structure, and technological structure. The first is spatial morphology and location. Many modern cities have been developed either through colonial enterprise or due to administrative and political reasons by its colonial rulers. Cities generally have a dual character, as they comprise a traditional section along with the modern characteristics. We see this in the case of Delhi, as it comprises both Old and New Delhi. Old Delhi represents the traditional part, whereas New Delhi comprises the new elements. In its spatial structure, it is relatively a new city, founded and developed primarily after the beginning of the 19th century. Commercial activities tend to dominate the central part of the city rather than government buildings and religious structures. The second is economic structure. The traditional city was primarily concerned with the religious, ceremonial, political, and administrative functions. It is characterized by an overly large territory or service sector. Territorial sector refers to those services or professions which involve activities other than production, such as teaching, administration, transportation, etc. The city also provided large markets for goods that were not brought from outside but had to be made within the city itself. The next one is demographic and sociological structure. In the modern city, death rates have fallen significantly, but the birth rates have continued as before or even risen. Due to the decline in the infant mortality rate, which has been a natural population increase in large cities, there is added pressure due to the migration of people seeking employment or for educational purposes, etc. There are other social trends in modernization, such as changes in family structure, literacy, sex ratio, etc. In the sphere of changes in values, attitudes, and forms of social relations, it has been observed that the rural and non-urban forms of social organizations, values, and attitudes persist in the city. During social occasions such as marriage or the birth of a child, city dwellers tend to follow social observations. The next one is technological structure. The modern cities witness technological changes such as a network of good roads, modern and efficient means of transportation, etc. These amenities are important in large cities for communication networks with suburbs. Suburbs are satellite townships situated on the outskirts of the large cities and towns, providing residential areas for the population working in the cities. Now let us move to the next point, pre-industrial cities. The term pre-industrial cities has been coined by the social scientists for those cities in Asia and Africa that have arisen without stimulus from a form of production that is not associated with the European Industrial Revolution. It is characterized by a complex social organization, a highly developed state or religious institutions, and a rigid class structure. Now we will discuss three aspects of the pre-industrial city. The first is ecological organization, second economic organization, and the third is social organizations. The first is ecological organization. Pre-industrial cities depend on their existence upon food and raw materials obtained from the outside, and they serve or act mainly as market centers. A number of handicrafts are also manufactured in these centers. Important political, religious, and educational activities take place in such cities. For example, the city of Banaras and Haridwar are best known as religious centers. Banaras is also famous for the manufacturing of Banarasi saris, which are not machine made but handmade. Banaras is also an important pilgrimage center for the Hindu. The people offer a variety of offerings to the deities in the temples. In this manner, the temple priests and the administrators get access to a variety of resources. The people living in the city perform a variety of administrative, economic, or religious services. The internal arrangement of such a city is closely related to the city's economic and social structure. The provision of modern transportation system, good roads, etc. are lacking in these cities. The city may be congested as there may be just narrow passages for people and animals used for transportation. The city may also face sanitation problems due to its congested nature. There are several social divisions reflected in such a city. There may be different areas allocated for different sections, and these areas may be demarcated by a wall. Even the occupational groups reside apart from one another. Often a particular street or part of the city is occupied by members of a particular trade or craft. For instance, in many cities in India, we see areas that are known for a particular craft or for a particular kind of trade. Such instances are Johari Bazar in the city of Jaipur and Chandni Chowk in Old Delhi, which are famous for their silversmiths and the goldsmiths. Finally, in pre-industrial cities, it is not the business center which holds the position of dominance, but it is the religious center that is usually the focal point of community life. In Banaras, we see that the ghats are of significance as the temples and shrines are situated on the banks of the Ganga. People visit Banaras for a holy dip in the river Ganga. The next is economic organization. The economy of the pre-industrial city differ from the industrial city. The main difference is that there is the absence of industrialism. Industrialism is defined as part of production where inanimate or non-living sources of power are used to increase the amount of production. Pre-industrial cities depend for the production of goods and service upon animate, human or animal, sources of energy used either directly or indirectly through mechanical devices such as the hammers, pulleys, and wheels. In industrial societies, electricity and steam is used, which increases the quantity of production. This form of production, which requires the development of several institutions, results in changes in the ecological, economic, and social organization in industrial cities. Another aspect of the pre-industrial city is associated with its unique system of production, which is an absence of fragmentation or specification of work. The handicraftsmen participated in nearly every phase of the manufacture of an article and carry out the work in his own home or in a small shop nearby and within the limits of certain guilds and community regulations, maintaining control over the methods of production. Most commercial activities also are conducted in pre-industrial cities by individuals without a highly formalized organization. The craftsmen market their own products. The various occupations are organized into what have been termed guilds. Guilds have existed for merchants and handicrafts works, for example, goldsmiths and weavers. In a pre-industrial city, there is a non-standardization in the way goods are manufactured as well as in the products, and this is also seen in the way it is marketed. Generally, there is no fixed price allocated for goods. Business is conducted in a leisurely manner, and earning money is not the sole criteria. Furthermore, the sorting of goods according to size, weight, and quality is not common. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self-learning podcast.